Welcome to the bright side of aging. My name is Ike Engelbaum. I'm a pharmacist and the publisher of AmericanSeniorGazette.org. It has been wisely said, you cannot help getting older, but you can help getting old. It has also been said that age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. My purpose in doing the show is so that seniors and caregivers can share their ideas and questions on how we can age gracefully and in a vertical position for as long as our good genes will allow. And if we've inherited bad genes, how to outwit them. Our topics include senior housing, financial, legal, safety, travel, health issues, interesting senior events in the community, and most of all, tips on how to put old on hold.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
Hi, Ike Engelbaum. I am really excited about a new sponsor, and that is Memory Health. These are vitamin capsules that you take 3 a day, and it improves your memory. Memory Health has been proven to be scientifically helpful for early stages of Alzheimer's. In fact, it has been claimed that it can even forestall Alzheimer's. Dr. Joel Kahn made this statement, in my more than 30 years of practicing medicine, no other product has ever come close to truly supporting brain health like Memory Health. It's a safe, natural supplement. If you need any more information, call 888-489-8980, 888-489-8980. Did you hear that number? 888-489-8980. Write it on your mirror, wherever you're going to look around when you walk around. And why? Especially as we... rather than saying getting older, I like to say getting seasoned. And as you get seasoned, things just like our natural environment around us, things change. We are so fortunate that we live in a state that has 4 seasons. So we can see beautiful greenery around this time of the year, and then that white stuff in the winter, and then other kinds of things. And what's unique about Michigan, and perhaps maybe another state somewhere, is that we have 4 seasons all in one day. So enjoy the sunshine and also enjoy life as best as you can. And that's the purpose of this show. It's titled Bright Side of Aging. And when it's bright outside, you can really appreciate life around you. I try to bring on interesting people and, most important, knowledgeable people. And as a pharmacist, I can tell you firsthand that I've had the privilege of filling thousands of prescriptions over the years, and I got to know people's needs. And when we sold our drugstores, Owl Drugs they were called, our tagline was, Owl Drugs, we give a hoot about your health. And I still do want to give a hoot to your good health and to enjoy life as best as you can. And I cannot stress the importance of connecting with the right people. And, because of my first name being Ike, as I have what I like to call a series of Ikeisms. And one of my favorites is that if you don't know the right answer, at least be sure to ask the right question. But most important is knowing who to ask. And I've got a really super talented, very knowledgeable Shari Smith on the line. In fact, I'm not quite sure Shari Smith is not a stage name. Is that your real name, Shari Smith?
It is my real name, yeah.
That's wonderful.
I know, I have to tell people that sometimes. Yeah, but that is my legal name.
Well, that's great. You could go in show business if you ever get tired of your current position. So let's start off. You are now part of the Area Agency on Aging 1B. So your official title, Miss Shari Smith, is?
I am the MAP manager. MAP is the Michigan Medicare Assistance Program, and so it's MAP manager / regional coordinator. Uh-huh. So we serve a 6-county area, and I am the regional coordinator for those 6 counties. Mm-hmm. Because the MAP program is across the state.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you briefly describe what the program is?
Sure. We're funded through older American dollars, and we provide one-on-one counseling to people on Medicare. So if people are looking at their plan and aren't sure if they're choosing the right plan or don't even know where to start with Medicare, they can give us a call. We're happy to help. Across the 6 counties, we have approximately 120 trained and certified counselors who can meet with people and really help them to make the best choices for their Medicare plans.
Mm-hmm.
We're not an insurance company, and we're not affiliated with any insurance companies. We just provide completely unbiased information.
And I want to stress that magic word, unbiased. You are a non-profit, government-run agency, so...
We're not government-run. We're private.
You're private.
Government-funded.
You're government-funded. So that means you actually have no affiliation that you try to push any particular product or any particular company. You just give anyone calling you the information that they may need as they age, especially when it comes to the really very complex Medicare type program. Now, I'm aware of, that time limit that comes up like at October the 15th to, I think, mid-December, where you can
December 7th,
where you can change the plans. So, without taking away from what you're doing, what do you do the rest of the year?
Well,
what comes up?
We do lots of things the rest of the year. So for Medicare Part D and Medicare Advantage plans, there's the open enrollment period that you said, October 15th through December 7th. But also, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan by January 1st, you can change your plan from January 1st to March 31st. So we're busy with those sorts of things. Additionally, people turn 65 every day. And so we do a lot of work with people who are new to Medicare, who need some assistance, at any point in time during the year. We do presentations out in the community. And a lot of our volunteers because we are primarily volunteer driven, they're not working during some of this year, but they're back for open enrollment. We also do a lot of training for our team so that everybody stays up to date. So we're very busy during the rest of the year as well. And one of the things we're also busy with, Ike, is helping people out with scams, because there's a lot of scams out there. And we're also what's called the Senior Medicare Patrol, which sort of a silly name, but that's what they call it for Michigan. So
then
we're busy with that.
If anyone is interested in being in direct touch with you, what phone number would you like to give out?
They would call our 800 number, which is 800-803-7174. It's 800-803-7174, and that was it's a geo-directed number, so it works anywhere in the state. It will connect you with the proper area agency on aging.
Now, if someone turns 65, can you start getting the benefits right off the bat, or how does that work?
Well, it depends when you enroll. You have a 7-month period in which to enroll in Medicare, so it's the 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after that. So if you enroll in one of the 3 months before you turn 65, your benefits will start the month you turn 65 on the first day of the month. And if you enroll the month you turn 65 or one of the 3 months after it, your benefits will start the following month. So if you want them to start right away, it's important to enroll properly. And you do that through Social Security.
So you call Social Security if it's 3 months before you turn 65 to get things started, is that correct?
That's correct, especially if you're going to retire at that point in time. If you're not planning on retiring and drawing Social Security benefits, then you actually need to call Social Security or go on their website. But if you're retiring and drawing Social Security benefits, you should get a card for your Part A and your Part B, which is your hospitalization and your doctors. But you still need a drug plan.
Now, I just wondered if you could share some of the issues that people call you on. You mentioned, did you say scams? Is that something
I did.
So I realize there's so many different ones. What seems to be the ones that you get most calls on?
We get most of our calls, it varies, but one of the ones I just received 2 calls in the last 2 days, are people are receiving extra COVID kits, and they are not being billed for those kits directly, but Medicare is being billed for them, and they're coming in some in kind of bulk. One of the people who called has a huge stack of them right now that he did not order. And so even though individuals aren't paying for them directly, Medicare's paying, and that affects all of us because it's a scam, and it affects the cost of care for everybody as scammers bill Medicare. That's $1 billion industry. So you can return to sender. You don't have to accept any packages that you don't order. And additionally, you can keep the kits if you want. You can donate them. You're not obligated to pay for anything you didn't order that shows up at your house. But that's one of the big scams that's going on right now. And then we work with the state to report those scammers, and they report it to the Office of an Inspector General, who looks into it.
Now, I wondered, when you get some of these bills from doctors or the hospital, and they use all these abbreviations and things, does your office help in turning it into shirt sleeve English so people understand what the heck is in that document? Is that go ahead.
When people get either their explanation of benefits from Medicare or their Medicare summary notices from a Medicare Advantage plan, then or reverse that actually, we can go through it with them and explain what's on the bill for them, and we always suggest that people make sure that they get their hospital bill or their doctor's bill and look it over and make sure that what they're being billed for are services that they've actually received. And sometimes, particularly with the hospital bill, it's really hard to tell that. But we can go over that with people and help them to understand.
Right. Well, you know, our toll-free number, 888-489-8980. Actually, we have a roster of professionals that have been involved in billing for hospitals and major medical offices. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm really proud of, is that because I've been in the healthcare field, for over 65 years for sure. So I have recruited people that are sort of semi-retired and actually volunteer. And does the Area Agency on Aging still welcome volunteers to train them to help other seniors?
We do. Our program is always looking for volunteers, and we'll get them through this. The training program goes through the state, but we take care of the application process. Yes, so if people are interested, they should definitely give us a call, and we'll talk about what's involved. It's a pretty intense training because Medicare is complicated, and then once they're trained, we provide ongoing mentoring and ongoing trainings and support. So we love our volunteers.
Yes, well, you know, if they'll call your toll-free number, 800-803-7174, you can probably fill in some of the gaps, so to speak. And I wondered, when you get some sort of an outrageous bill from a medical clinic or hospital, does the Area Agency on Aging have advocates that can see if they can straighten out if there is a misunderstanding?
Yeah, if there's something that they were billed for that they didn't receive, we can definitely help them advocate for it. If they're denied services that they think they're entitled to, we can help them write an appeal. It really depends on what the situation is, but if we're not the right people to help, we'll do our very best to get people where they need to go. We don't ever just say, "I'm sorry, you're out of luck." That's not what we do. We get people to the right place. Right.
Now, years back, I'm not sure if the program is still available, and that is there are unfortunately people in nursing homes that could possibly be better served if they were in their own home, and that the Area Agency on Aging would send out a representative to truly evaluate whether the patient indeed can be discharged from the nursing home. Is the Area Agency on Aging still involved in that program?
Yeah, that would be the Medicare waiver program, and yes, we have that program, and we do have people who do those assessments. I can't speak too much about that because it's not a program that I manage or am real involved in. I just know it. We have it here.
So, but you can refer them to the appropriate party.
Absolutely.
Right. Well,
Absolutely.
You know, one of the other things I really admire about the Area Agency on Aging is that you have segmented certain counties for specific branches. I believe there are 16 different offices of Area Agency on Aging in the state of Michigan, or is there more?
Yeah, no, there's 16. We're the largest. We have 25% of the Medicare population in the state in our 6-county region, which is Livingston, Monroe, Washtenaw, Oakland, St. Clair, and Macomb counties. And then there are 2 area agencies in Wayne County that together have 25% of the Medicare population, and that's the Area Agency on Aging 1A and the Area Agency on Aging 1C. 1C is called the Senior Alliance, and the other is the Detroit Area Agency on Aging. And then there's 13 more area agencies on aging in Michigan that have the remaining 50% of the Medicare population.
Mm-hmm. So anywhere in the state of Michigan, there is an area agency on aging, but for those folks that are in this area here, Area Agency on Aging 1B is ready to serve, and I'm so pleased that it's so accessible. And one of the frustrating things I don't mind sharing with you, and that I get calls on, is this voicemail jail that you call some of these organizations. And the sad part is you have to press button 3 or button 4. By the time you're done with all the extensions, you forget exactly what your problem is.
And I have to say we're a little guilty on that with our 800 number, because it is geo-directed, and you have to input first your zip code so they know which area agency on aging to send your call to. And then we get sometimes 1,800 calls a month, and we've only got one and a half people answering the phone. So people do end up getting voicemail a lot. However, we return every call that we get. So,
right.
So you do end up in a voicemail, but we do return the calls.
Right. Well, I've called, and you've been very prompt. Usually, it's within a couple, at least a day or so. So it's not like it's lost forever.
Correct. Correct. No, we take our job very seriously, and we know when people call us, it's because they need help.
Right.
So
right.
we will, send the call to one of our counselors, and they will return the call.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've had the privilege of having you speak to our Rotary Club and also the Optimist Club. And if anyone is listening and has an organization, you want to get an update of what's going on, Shari will travel and speak. Is that correct?
That's correct. That is correct. Have information, will travel. So yes, if anybody would like a presentation or just a talk on Medicare, I am more than happy to come out and speak.
Well, that's wonderful, and you can always call 888-489-8980, and I can help in getting the process done. Without bragging, one of the big reasons I use that 888-489-8980 number is that all you have to do is press number 1, and unless I'm already on the phone, you're directly connected to me. So that can speed up a lot. And I work very strongly with the Area Agency on Aging, and I've attended some of those in-service training programs myself, just to try to make sure I learn whatever is available. Are you planning any particular programs in the near future of training? We don't
have anything planned at the moment, but we always have information on our social media. So, if you've got a Facebook or a Twitter, an Instagram account or LinkedIn, you can follow us, and you'll get information about not just the MAP program, but the Area Agency on Aging 1B as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, Shari, you are a delight to talk to because you've been doing this for so long that you can speak the language in understandable fashion. So, and you can't ask for a better name than Shari Smith at 800-803-7174. Thanks. We'll have you on again because you're so good, Miss Shari.
Thank you, Ike.
Have a great day. We will be right back.
Family run for over 88 years, Friends Hardware has remained family owned and operated. Friends Hardware is one of a kind. You'll find the newest products offered on TV at very competitive prices. You'll also find safety products, grab bars for bathrooms, battery-operated light switches, remote control devices that you can turn your lamps on or any electrical device. You don't have to run out there anymore. Just press the button. Better yet, just visit Friends Hardware, located on Main Street and 11.5 Mile Road. They're open every day. If you wish to call, it's 248-544-8111. That's 248-544-8111. Better yet, just visit 11.5 Mile Road and Main Street, Friends Hardware.
Hi, Ike Engelbaum. One of my sponsors is Cofix Nasal Spray. You can spray the inside of your nose and almost have the same benefits as a mask. In fact, it's been so well proven that it's now on the market in drugstores. Cofix RX. Spray it in the nose. 45 seconds later, you have up to 8 hours like a shield inside your nose. It's been scientifically proven. I'm really excited about it. I use it anytime I go out in a huge crowd. If you need any more information, call 888-489-8980, 888-489-8980. And we're back, and I just want to remind you that our program is based on sponsorship, and I pride myself on picking top type of companies as well as products that I feel can help you, as I like to say, age gracefully and in place. And I'm really excited about this memory health capsule that I personally take myself. I can't say my memory has suddenly gone back to my college days, but I can tell you that I do feel better. And because it's an all non-prescription type drugs, it's really nutrition for the brain. I get so frustrated when I run into people, and I'm sure you have it happen to you, it happens to me, where you say, oh, I've got a senior moment. It's not a matter of suddenly your brain is shrinked, or has shrunk. The truth of it is that as we age, the connections in our neurons, as well as the rest of the body, suddenly, after all the years you've been around, is sort of weakened. And memory health is available through a lot of the drugstores, or call our toll-free number, and I can arrange for a supply to be sent to you. There's other stuff I want to talk about, but not today. Today I'd like to leave you with my favorite parting thought, which is yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. So please enjoy your present by living and looking life with a bright side of aging.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network radio show. Our mission is to interview successful entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their ideas and experiences, both the successes and the failures. Because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. My name is Ike Engelbaum, and I'm the founder of the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan, which is a group of motivated people that are all interested in helping each other in achieving our personal and professional goals. Please check out our website, EntrepreneursNetworkofMichigan.com, for meeting schedule as well as self-improvement material. Our philosophy is that if it's to be, it's up to me. For over 30 years, Cruz Hearing and Service has helped thousands of people improve their hearing and enjoy the sounds of their life again. If you don't hear as well as you like, Cruz Hearing can help you. They have actually hearing aids that the batteries do not need to be recharged. And they also have a caption phone that you can view for free. And also the phone, if you are over 65, is available to you free. So any phone calls you get, you can see captioned if you don't hear that well. Hey, they've got other stuff. If you'd like a free cookbook, call 1-888-489-8980. That's available. You can call Cruz Hearing Direct at 877-456-2789. The number direct is 877-456-2789.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
And welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network. And as you know, our theme is to try to help you in getting started in business or building your business and building a successful and a life that is really meaningful. And one of the common threads that I found of most successful business people is that aside from their skills in whatever profession they're in, is that religion is a big part of their success. And I am not in the political field, but I really feel one of the biggest problems we have in our country among all of the incompetence and shenanigans that go on is that we've actually moved away from a religious belief that there's a superior being. I want to make, for the sake of disclosure, I am Jewish. I'm very proud of it. And I feel that Judaism is one of the religions that's really all-encompassing. Our belief is that there is only one God, and that we should be the best that we can be. In fact, a common Hebrew phrase and belief in the Jewish religion is tikkun olam, to make the world a little bit better than it was when you arrived. I enjoy many times speaking with other religious leaders, and interestingly enough, because of circumstances, I ended up attending a Catholic college for a couple of years because I needed it for not only for my own knowledge, but also because I needed it for getting the degree that I have in pharmacy. Having said that, I really respect every religion, and I get a kick out of reading different billboards in front of churches. And one of the ones that stands out is that it reads that if God does not seem as close to you in your life as he used to, guess who moved? And as most religions, there are different segments as to the belief system. And I'm really excited about having Rabbi Michael Strassfeld, who has written another one of his great books titled Judaism Disrupted. Rabbi Michael Strassfeld has served the Jewish community for over 5 decades in numerous capacities, including as an educator, writer, editor, rabbi, and community leader. He is the author of Judaism Disrupted, which is being published on the 50th anniversary of his breakthrough bestseller that sold over 300,000 copies, The Jewish Catalog. Rabbi Strassfeld, the son of a modern Orthodox rabbi, was ordained as a rabbi over 30 years ago by the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College. He served as a rabbi for a decade at Congregation Anshe Chesed and for 14 years as rabbi for the Society for the Advancement of Judaism. For nearly 20 years, he was the leader of High Holy Services at Congregation Anshe Chesed. He also was the director of programming and development for 4 years, and their executive director for 3 years. Wow! And there's more, but we'd run out of time if I read your complete bio. So, hello, Rabbi Strassfeld.
Thank you for that great hello and welcome.
And I just wondered if you could give a breakdown in the Jewish tradition. As you all know, we have the segments of Orthodoxy, Conservative, Reform, and Reconstructionist. Could you give a thumbnail sketch of each as to why we have 3?
Sure. So it's broadly, it's all about a response to the challenge of the modern world. Moving from a medieval world, which was very different, into the modern world where modernity challenged religion and claims of religion, and science was a challenge. And so the question was, how do you respond? So there were some who saw that we have to keep to the old traditions, that changing things is dangerous or maybe even incorrect, and that's the Orthodox, who try and maintain the tradition as they understood it, as going back all the way to Mount Sinai and the revelation at Sinai. And then there were other groups of Jews who said, no, we're living in different times, and we really have to change. We want to still be Jewish, we still want to be part of the Judaism, but we need to make some changes. The world we live in is very different, and so that began with reform, as the name is. We have to reform what was, and then another group of Jews came along and said, wait, the reform are going too far, in our opinion, and so therefore we want to take a middle position between Orthodox, who say, let's keep it exactly as it was. The Reformer says, well, we have to change a lot of things. So conservatives say we want to change things, but we also want to be careful to preserve much of the tradition, not all of the tradition. And then last, Reconstructionists came along, and that's the one denomination or movement, however you want to call it, which was really born in America. It was started by a rabbi named Mordechai Kaplan at the beginning of the 20th century, and he had a different version of balancing those things. He did feel that things need to change, and he was willing to make some fairly radical changes from Jewish tradition, but also wanted to continue to uphold Jewish practice. And in a way, the name Reconstruction means, okay, we're going to take the past and reconstruct it for the contemporary moment. So, and that's the real short version, needless to say, of these denominations. But they're all that variation on this theme of how much of the past to preserve and how much of innovation and change do you embrace. And that's an ongoing question in the Jewish community.
Well, you know, I have a small mind, so I try to categorize things in a small fashion. And to me, the fact that we do have the different segments in the Jewish religion is a sign of strength. So that rather than, hey, you gotta do this or you're gonna die, you can maintain the core beliefs and principles of Judaism, and I understand that there are 11 core principles that define today's Judaism. I wondered, could you address some of those cores? Core principles.
Sure. So, the 11 core principles is an invention in my new book, Judaism Disrupted. And again, broadly, I both want to preserve the tradition, draw from traditional text and traditional teachings, but I also believe that, as the title suggests, we live in disruptive times. And that, in some ways, as I said earlier, began with the beginning of the modern period. But I think all of us, wherever we are on these kind of spectrums of change and tradition, recognize that things are moving really fast at this moment, and it's disruptive. And so in the book, I developed this notion of 11 core principles, and around which I think Judaism should be organized, and practices that would go with that. So they're both traditional in a sense, in some ways. So the first principle, I won't do all 11, the first principle is that we're all created in the image of God. And that is a fundamental teaching of the Torah, of the Bible. And obviously, Christianity and other biblical religions have similar notions, but it really says something that about how we have to treat people. If our starting notion is that we're all created in the image of God, then that means treating everybody equally, being open to the differences, and also commitment to help people in need, whoever they are or whatever community they're coming from. So that's one example.
And I just wondered as to how you feel as we speak today? Should it continue evolving, or are we pretty well near the finish line?
No, I think despite writing a book that says, okay, here's 11 core principles, etc., I think we're not near the finish line at all. I think, and that's one of the notions of Reconstructionism, that Judaism is an evolving religious civilization. That is, so in that sense, to answer your question, there isn't like, okay, let's change these things, then we finally got it right, and it's all fixed, and that's the way it's going to be for the next 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. No, that isn't. That things keep on changing. Even in my own lifetime, liberal Judaism, the segments of Judaism that believe in change have made a lot of changes, including women having a completely equal role in Jewish religious life as do men. And so, for the last number of decades, there are women rabbis. That was unheard of before the 20th century, and that was a major and significant change. And I think we will see more changes. And some of the changes will. I don't think that one, but there'll be some changes that people think are a good idea, and it turns out, in the end, after trying it for a while, like consensus emerges. Yeah, that's actually not such a great idea. Mm-hmm. Let's forget about that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. Just like life is an ongoing process. You don't get to one place and say, whatever, I'm 50, whatever, and now I know everything. No. Now I'm perfect. No, right? I'm not 50. I'm in my 70s. So, but whatever an age is, right? I heard you say, like, we both have to be in the present and see the present moment as a present. I like that comment, but it's also looking towards the future and trying to figure out how best to respond to the future. And today, I think that's a big challenge for many religions. And as someone who's a Jew and a rabbi, particularly about Judaism, I think there are a lot of Jews that feel not very connected to Judaism. They kind of live on the margins of Judaism as a religion and as a practice. And that's who I'm trying to speak to in the book.
Without getting too personal, which I'm about to do, your father is a modern Orthodox rabbi. How does he feel about his son adopting the Reconstructionist philosophy?
Well, I should just say, obviously, you wouldn't know this, but he passed away a number of years ago. But I think it was mixed. And my mother as well, who was modern Orthodox. I mean, they both passed away. I think they, were concerned that I was leaving the tradition that they grew up in and still lived basically throughout their whole lives. And yet, on the other hand, I think when they saw that even though my version of Judaism wasn't exactly the same as theirs, that as you said earlier, that there's lots of ways to be Jewish, and I clearly was still very much involved in Jewish life, again, my version of it, and and professionally, I was a rabbi, so I was not just someone who was of the Jewish faith, but was someone whose work was involved in Judaism, and particularly starting from that first book, as you mentioned, that was so successful, the Jewish Catalog, was really trying to make Judaism and the Jewish tradition more accessible to people in the Jewish community who who didn't grow up with the background that I got, and therefore often find Judaism, kind of inaccessible, because there's all these texts and teachings and customs and laws, and it's hard when you feel like you're an outsider, to feel welcomed, or even think that maybe I should step across the threshold of a synagogue and see what it's like.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that that's one of the big dilemmas that we have in our society today, is that somehow religion is looked down upon as archaic and really not meaningful? Does that have an effect on what's going on?
Yeah, yes, I think it, first of all, has an effect about how many people affiliate with religions. As you probably know, the latest surveys show, a continuing decrease in the number of people who are affiliated with churches or mosques or synagogues, and an increasing number of people who define themselves on surveys in America as nuns, N-O-N-E-S, like none of the above. Like they're not part of any religion. And I think broadly, clearly there are plenty of people who are part of religious life, but the people who are not, I think feel like religion is archaic, it's full of rules, they can look at, some of the not very good things, or, actually bad behavior by people who are religious as a sign, religion's not good, look at what these people are doing, or the scandals in the Catholic Church, et cetera, et cetera. And, wonder, why bother? Why have all this stuff? And my premise is, the basic premise of the book is that Judaism isn't about, doing all the Jewish rituals and customs that only Jews do, but Judaism is about taking the most precious gift that we have, which is our lives, and providing wisdom and practices that can help us live those lives more fully with more meaning, and help us to be closer to the vision that I think each of us has of ourselves, of being, a kind and nice and compassionate and caring person. And so these practices and teachings can help us do that, in part by cultivating inner qualities, of whether it's generosity or gratitude or compassion, that will help us be like that, rather than caught up in being angry or suspicious of people who are different from ourselves, or just being selfish and narcissistic. I think, in bottom line, religion is a call to be concerned not just about yourself, but about all the images of God in this world, the universe, whatever language you use. It's all about there's something larger than myself. And too often, and I think that's particularly true in the modern world, all we can see is ourselves and our needs and our experience.
Well, the common mission I've heard so many times is always be a good person, and I am inspired from the Jewish traditions that if you're a good Jew, in most cases, you're also a good person. Is that a correct assumption?
Well, I think what I would say is the point is to be a good person, and as you know, there's this great Yiddish word, be a mensch, which, means literally be a person, but it really denotes, mensch means exactly that. Not just a person, but someone who cares about other people, who you would say is a good person. Joe's a good person. Like he's always there happy to help, happy to, extend a hand to people who are in need. And that's what it's about. And I would add that it's to be a spiritual mensch, right? So it's not just to be a good person, but to be, Judaism as a religion is saying what I said just a moment ago, that there's something larger than ourselves in life. And whether you call that God, whether you call it the unity of the universe, whether, however you want to term it, it's saying that there's something there beyond, what we could touch and experience, that life has these deeper meanings, and those deeper connections encourage us and help us, hopefully, to be better people, to be mensch, and help us face the inevitable challenges and difficulties that every person will face in life, whether death and loss and disappointment. There are no magic solutions, but there's a lot of wisdom from, and Judaism is one of the oldest wisdom traditions extant in this world, 3,000 years of conversation by the Jewish people about what does it mean to live a life of meaning and purpose.
Mm-hmm. And purpose is so important. Not to make light of it, but one of the wonderful things about Judaism is, like we brought out, there are various segments. You can believe it in a way that's most comfortable, but above all, there's a quotation that I've adopted. I call it an Ikeism, and that is that the purpose of religion is to comfort the troubled and to trouble the overly comforted. So when you get to that point where you don't think there's a higher spirit, you're into trouble. I don't know if that covers it, but in my mind, it covers quite a bit.
No, I think it's great, and in a funny way, the title of my book, Judaism Disrupted, is kind of a parallel to that. So we live in a very disruptive times, which is challenging Judaism, but Judaism itself is about disrupting. In other words, it's to discomfort the comfortable. It's to say, wait a second, there's so much wrong in our society. We need to do something about it. You just can't sit back and, just watch cable television or whatever. You have to, what are you doing to make the community you live in better, the city you live in better, the country you live in better, the world you live in better, right?
Right.
There are all these challenges, so don't be, kind of implying, don't be self-satisfied.
Right. That was well said, and unfortunately we run out of time, Rabbi. It's been a delight, and I always respect people of your caliber, and yesher koach, as they say. Right now I have a few moments just to share my parting thought, which is, if you really want to get anything done in life, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there is no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it is the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.